Hello everyone, welcome to my video presentation on Application Programming Interface APIs. My name is Uday Gali. I am from India and let us discuss about APIs today. Let us get into it. Let us understand what is an API. The definition of API is given below. An Application Programming Interface API is a connection between computers or between computer programs. It is a type of software interface offering a service to other piece of software. I want to emphasize here it is a software interface offering services to other piece of software. It is not a physical interface or a physical interaction. It is an interaction between software or a program or computers. They are exchanging services, exchanging information. So it is not a physical interaction, but it is interaction between software to software. In this slide, I am using a word called interface. First, we must understand what is an interface. Let us go to the next slide. It says that the definition of interface is given as below. In computing, an interface is a shared boundary across which two or more separate components of a computer system exchange information. It is a fancy way of saying that you would interact with the one piece of software or one piece of equipment. For example, your phone has an interface where you can communicate with your phone hardware to do something for you. So it has an interface where you can click or increase volume or close it, open it. So there are buttons, also icons on your screen. So these things will allow you to interact with your phone to do something useful. So here interface is simply where you would interact with another piece of software. Let us see some different kinds of interfaces that we are familiar with. I want you to see this one. It is a hardware interface of a laptop. We are all aware of this interface. Many of us might have used USB stick or Ethernet cable to interact with or get data from one device to another device or from internet. Here we can see that USB port and RJ45 jack as clearly been shown here. Through these interfaces, we can communicate with the laptop. Another type of interface that we all familiar with that I have mentioned before is a user interface of your phone. If you see that user interface is a space where interactions between humans and machines occur. The goal of this interaction is to allow effective operation and control of machine from the human end. In case of user interface, the communication is happening between human and the machine, while the application interface, it is interaction is happening between application and application, or program or software. So that is the main difference between the API interface, user interface, and hardware interfaces. As we understand about the APIs, let us see what are their uses and what type of different APIs available. If you see in Wikipedia, the usages section, it says that the libraries and frameworks use, and also operating systems also uses APIs. There are remote APIs where developers to manipulate remote users through protocols, and web APIs. I'm going to talk about web APIs today in particular because we are developers, web developers. We are trying to understand how web works. Let us see what are the different types of web APIs available. Rapidbuy.com mentions the following. They said there are four main types of APIs: open APIs, partner APIs, internal APIs, composite APIs. Even not only that, they have mentioned web service APIs. If we come to developer.mozilla.com, we can see the number of web APIs specified. Okay, there is a quite a bit of APIs available here. Some of them we use and some we don't, but there are many more listed over here. It's a big list of things. But main reason that I want you to say this one, of course, it is intimidating to see what all are available so that we can make things work. But one API that I would like to express here is a fetch API. In fact, we have already used this fetch API in our presentations this week. In this week assignments, we have already used fetch API. Fetch API function or method would take a URL where the resources are specified. So in this example, we are using the provided Laraday profits JSON objects location in GitHub. So when we give this URL to the fetch method, it would fetch the JSON object or JSON text file from the URL specified with the promise. So if you see that the fetch uses promises to get the responses. Actually, fetch creates a promise when it executes the get the response from the URL specified. If everything went well, we would receive a response as a JSON text file. Then we would use dot notation. Then we would give a function and also mentions response as an argument. So then we would take that argument in the function and returns it to the response.json. Then this JSON object that comes to this then function again will give us the JSON object. We are capturing this JSON object, which is converted from text file to the JSON object into profits constant here. So from this file, we are using this data that we have received. Okay, we would receive this one in a JSON file. We are looping through this JSON file, and we are doing quite a number of things here. We are creating a section element. We are giving some attributes by using the set attribute function, and again we created a h2 header and image, and again we have specified the URLs, and I'm setting this URL to the image that I have, to the image element. Then we have also used template literals to the text content for the h2 element. So we have, after all doing all these things, we have added these to the card element on the page. We basically used append child function to append all the elements that we have created here in these things. Then if you see in the main section that we do not have a section element here, but we have only main and div with the class container. What we are doing this here, one main thing that I want to emphasize here, that we have already used fetch FBI in today's or this week's assignments. I'm glad that the curriculum has given us this opportunity to use fetch API. See, if you see that the fetch API is not interacting with us, we are using the fetch API to fetch some data located in a different location. It is not interacting with us. It is interacting with another program on the web to request a data. If you see that, you would understand the interaction is only between the program and program, or software and software. This is where the API differ in all the interfaces. I hope that we have gained a little bit more understanding about APIs. Remember, APIs are complicated. There are many things that we need to be aware of it. That's why developers always create documentation. Documentation is very important while creating APIs. Creating a documentation for an API is also very crucial. If you do not have a good API, developers like you and me do not understand how to interact or use that API programmed by these providers. So all the API providers, such as Google, for example, Facebook, Twitter, all these big companies would spend a great amount of time and efforts in creating a documentation so that it would be easier for you and me to use these APIs that they have created. If they are creators, we are the users. Specifically, they are, for example, Google is a API creator and we are API consumers. As consumers, we should know how to use their product. So the companies would take great deal of amount of time and efforts to creating a documentation. By using this documentation, we can use the APIs available. I hope this presentation has given you some information and idea about APIs and also the web APIs that you and I going to use. The fetch API is the most common one that we use in the web development. I wish you all the best and use the APIs to enhance your applications. Thank you for listening and please give me some feedbacks if you have. Thank you. Have a great day.